Fellas and fellaritas, I went to a new friend's house today, and his daughter came over. Daughter was very excited to be talking to a UFC fighter. She's a UFC fanatic. So throughout the day, she came up with about, 12 to 15 questions she wanted to ask me. And this is the little impromptu interview that she did with me. Sorry about the camera angle. I know it's supposed to be sideways, but I did it vertical, so please forgive that. But this is how it went. It was a lot of fun. All right.
Okay. What has being in the UFC taught you about motivation and determination?
Motivation and determination. I was never meant to be a fighter. I kind of stumbled into it. I was a band nerd for most of my life. But I started doing this. Some guy asked, "You want to fight?" And I got me into it. I said, "Oh, this is cool." Didn't know the rules, didn't know anything about it, just started fighting. And I was hooked immediately. And it just, from the beginning, it's like, all right, I have to get better at this. I have to learn how to do this because I don't know what I'm doing. My first fight, I dropped the guy. I thought I won. I didn't know the rules. So I was celebrating. He stood back up. Bell rang. Round 2, he beat the tar out of me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought I won. So it was really from that moment, I was hooked. And it was time I was going to really dedicate myself and do everything I can to make it to the whatever the next level was. I didn't know about the UFC, so I just wanted to not get a real job.
Wow.
See, I was 21, I want to say. I was either 20 or 21. I remember somebody bought me a beer after that fight. I remember it ruined me. I've never drank after. I really don't drink anyways, but I've never drank after a fight because that first fight, guy beat me up round 2. I must have been concussed. I don't know. But it was that one beer, I sipped it and said, ugh. Wow. But I don't remember if it was legal for me to drink it or not. I was either 20 or 21.
Wow.
If you could only beat one person in your UFC career, who would it be?
If I could only beat one person? The best one I have is Rashad. So that's a cool fight to have won. But
Former champ.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, whole 9 yards. I always wanted to fight Michael Bisping. I like the guy. I've trained with him once or twice. So I like him as far as that's concerned. And I never got the opportunity to fight him. He retired before it was ever a possibility.
What was the most difficult thing you had to do in the UFC?
So the hardest thing I've ever had to do in the UFC, it's the weight cut. The weight cut's miserable. And I've had a couple really bad. My last one was real hard. And it wasn't my biggest. I had 24 hours. I cut 17 pounds, and that was rough. I've done more one time, and that one was bad. But it's the weight cut's the hardest. Training's great. I love doing that. Fighting is wonderful. I enjoy doing that. I tell everyone I'll fight for free, but you're gonna have to pay me to cut weight. There you go.
If you could go back in time and change one thing that happened to you while you were in the UFC, what would it be?
So if I were to change, if I were to change one thing that happened to me in the UFC, what started it off was Mark Goddard. He reffed me down in Brazil when I was fighting Little Nog, and Mark Goddard, he Goddarded me. He stopped it way early. I was rocked, but I was in the middle of a takedown, and he stopped the fight. It bothered me big time. My next fight was against Jimmy Crute. I took it on 10 days' notice in Australia, went over there, got everything done. Mark Goddard came back in the back room and said, "Hey, I'm your ref this time." I wish I would have said, "No, you're not." I wish I would have said, I would like somebody else respectfully. You kind of screwed me last time, and I'd be more comfortable with someone else. I didn't do that, and then he went out and screwed me again.
Wow.
Oh, it was a rough one.
From the UFC.
My favorite memory from the UFC, God, I've had so many of them. The most of the last 10 years I've had has been in the UFC. The amount of people I've gotten to know and meet and be friends with. To this, I'm not in the UFC anymore, but I still know the staff. I still know everybody that's in the UFC, and that's really pretty special to me. I had my youngest child. Middle name is after Dana White.
Really?
Yeah, it's Evander Dana Alvey, and Dana was just, without what he has done for the sport, I wouldn't have had the career that I've had. Very likely, I wouldn't have had the 6 kids that I have if not for what he was able to do with a sport that human cockfighting into one of the fastest growing sports in the world is just second to none. So, it's the most important things I've done in the UFC are just the people I've met.
This one, I have some non-UFC questions, but what do you think is the best thing that ever happened to you?
The best thing that has ever happened to me, I've got 6 kids. Each one of them are pretty special. My wife was pretty cool as well. So I mean, I got to take the easy route and say it's the family. The family's just made everything better.
Dollars to spend in only 24 hours. What would you do with it first?
$100 million in only 24 hours. I'd gamble. I'd gamble a lot of it. I'd have to win. I assume if I win it, I'd get to keep that past the 24 hours. Just start betting down $1 million bets on blackjack, and I'll keep.
Yeah. Keep half. 500.
I would pay off my house immediately. I'd probably buy another car or 3. I would. I don't know if I can prepay college for my kids, but I would try and do that. If I've only got 24 hours to do it, I would take care of the bills first, so I'd have less bills afterwards.
If you were best friends with a celebrity, who would it be?
So if I was best friends with the celebrity, I really want to be friends with the Paul brothers. I'm joking.
Yeah?
I'm joking.
You know Logan Paul and Jake Paul are, right, Alon? Okay, yeah.
Shoot. I don't know that there are any celebrities out there. I'm just dying to meet.
Gina Carano. Come on.
I've got plans to. I'm assuming it's somebody I shouldn't be normally.
Hey, Daddy,
I'm talking
I
like.
have a napkin.
Sure.
There's poop on my
Oh, all right then. Famous people. I would like to meet Donald Trump. I would like to meet some presidents, even Barack Obama, George Bush. Meet some guys like that who, by all means, I probably will never be in the same room with.
30 seconds, what would you do?
If I controlled the world for 90 seconds, what would I do? I would pay off my house real quick. I would.
Daddy,
Yes.
there are a cat.
He does. I think he has 2.
There's 2.
Yeah. Cool. Go meet him. Go catch him. Go kiss him.
He's like, no.
90 seconds to control the world. See, you know what I would do? I would take care of Russia and China. I would take care of those guys. I'd just make sure they were not a big threat to us ever again.
I think that might be all the questions. Yep, it is.
That's all the questions? Did I answer everything?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic. Well, good. Well, thank you for that.